Malika's Pantry. I'm going to show you guys how to make a gluten-free red velvet cake today. Myself and my daughter, we have gluten allergies, so we have to make sure in our diet when we eat, it has to be gluten-free. I'm going to show you guys the recipe and all the ingredients. If you choose not to make it gluten-free, you can, the flours that I use, you can just do a wheat flour instead of the gluten-free flour. My favorite gluten-free flour that I always use that has the same similar texture to a wheat flour is the King Arthur multi-purpose flour. This one I really like because it's amazing with anything you make. Like my fried chicken, people, they don't even know it's gluten-free. My pastries, my cakes, no one knows. So this is my favorite. Now there's another brand that I use sometimes, it's Glutino. That one's good too, but this is my favorite of them all. So I'm going to give you my ingredients first. I'm going to let you know, like, a lot of the stuff, it's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to start with 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of buttermilk, 2.5 cups of the gluten-free flour or whole wheat flour or cake flour, whichever one you want to use, 2 eggs, 2 sticks of butter. This is 2.5 tablespoons of cocoa powder, unsweetened, and for the cocoa powder should be for baking. So this one I use the Ghirardelli. I really like that one. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/4 of a cup of red food coloring. This is 1 tablespoon of vinegar, the white vinegar, and there's 1/2 teaspoon of the baking soda. So I'm gonna start mixing all this stuff up in a moment, but just things that I like to do. I like to take everything out and measure it separately. Again, my sugar, I actually put my sugar separate. The dry ingredients I try to keep separate, but the flour, I put my salt in my flour so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to start mixing for you. Let's see. What I want to first do is, and then this is my actual gluten-free mixer. The last time I did my cookies, I used the regular blender, the regular KitchenAid, because I separate my gluten-free from my whole wheat process, the products that I use for non-gluten-free. So this is my own personal gluten-free mixer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the butter first. I'm going to put the butter in. This is two sticks of butter, and it's melted. It's pretty, it's soft. It's not melted, but it's soft. I let it sit out for a little bit to get soft. Once I get that in, I'm going to add my sugar to it and kind of blend it down to make it really, really smooth. So here's my sugar. And once it's nice and smooth, you can add in the egg one by one. I like to drop one of the eggs in one by one and just turn the speed down. Now, if you don't have one of these large mixers, you can use the hand mixer. You can go old school and do the whisk. But I'm pretty sure most people like to do the handheld mixer or whatever mixer you have. It's pretty easy. I like the speeds of this because it gets it really smooth and creamy, the batter. So let me add my eggs. Okay, that's mixing. And then I add in my vanilla extract. And I'm going to stop there because I want to show you guys what I do also after I do that. I have the 2.5 tablespoons of cocoa and then the 1/4 of a cup of food coloring. I actually mix that in together before I mix it because the cocoa sometimes is really, there's clumps in the cocoa sometimes. So what I'll do is I'm going to stir this together to give it a smooth texture instead of having the chocolate in there clumpy and trying to mix in there. It'll be already blended and smooth. So here we go. It just takes some time because the chocolate's really, really stuck together. It's gonna be yummy. This is one of my daughter's favorite desserts. And she was kind of sad for a while. When she learned that she had gluten allergies, she was sad that she couldn't have her red velvet cake. And I want to make sure that she's able to enjoy her food just like everyone else. So Mommy is making her gluten-free red velvet cake. So now once I have this blended together, it's real creamy and smooth, I'm going to put it in, mix it in there, turn it, just have it on the low speed and just blend it in. And now if you don't want to do too much food coloring, you can just do, you know, like an eighth of a cup, which is 1 ounce. This is 2 ounces total, but if you want to just do a small amount of the red velvet instead of, you know, having all the food color, because some people don't like the food coloring in there, you can just do it to where it's just 1 ounce. Or they also have the food coloring. It's a food dye. And I think it's derived from beets or strawberries. It's a natural one. You can look for that too, but I find that has a little aftertaste. So I kind of don't like that. I will use the food coloring in it just because, you know, this is Southern. This is Southern cooking, and you know, I like it. So so I'm gonna now start adding in a little bit of flour at a time, and then a little bit of the buttermilk, little by little. I'm going to take a cup and just kind of go really slow. So on a small stir, put a little bit of that in there. I'm going to pour a little bit of my buttermilk to wet the flour. I'm going to spin it some more. I'm going to take this down because sometimes the sides, it gets all the stuff on the sides. And notice, I like to use my red spatula for red velvet, because the dye will dye your whole, all of your products, all the spatulas, all the things that you have, it'll dye everything. So I always use the red spatula for red velvet, so I don't have to worry about the food color on the red. So let me push this down. And we're going to stir again. Okay, that's mixing. And then I add in my vanilla extract. And I'm going to stop there because I want to show you guys what I do also after I do that. I have the 2½ tablespoons of cocoa, and then the 1/4 of a cup of food coloring. I actually mix that in together before I mix it, because the cocoa sometimes is really, there's clumps in the cocoa sometimes. So what I'll do is I'm going to stir this together to give it a smooth texture, instead of having the chocolate in there clumpy and trying to mix in there. It'll be already blended and smooth. So here we go. It just takes some time because the chocolate's really, really stuck together. It's gonna be yummy. This is one of my daughter's favorite desserts. And she was kind of sad for a while. When she learned that she had gluten allergies, she was sad that she couldn't have her red velvet cake. And I want to make sure that she's able to enjoy her food just like everyone else. So Mommy is making her gluten-free red velvet cake. So now once I have this blended together, it's real creamy and smooth, I'm going to put it in, mix it in there, turn it, just have it on the low speed and just blend it in. And now if you don't want to do too much food coloring, you can just do, you know, like an eighth of a cup, which is 1 ounce. This is 2 ounces total, but if you want to just do a small amount of the red velvet instead of, you know, having all the food color, because some people don't like the food coloring in there, you can just do it to where it's just 1 ounce. Or they also have the food coloring. It's a food dye, and I think it's derived from beets or strawberries. It's a natural one. You can look for that too, but I find that has a little aftertaste. So I kind of don't like That I will use the food coloring in it, just because, you know, this is Southern cooking, and you know, I like it. So so I'm gonna now start adding in a little bit of flour at a time, and then a little bit of the buttermilk, little by little. I'm gonna take a cup and just kind of go really slow, so on a small stir. Put a little bit of that in there. I'm gonna pour a little bit of my buttermilk to wet it, to wet the flour. I'm gonna spin it some more. I'm gonna take this down because sometimes the sides, it gets all the stuff on the sides. And notice, I like to use my red spatula for red velvet because the dye will dye your whole, all of your products, all the spatulas, all the things that you have, it'll dye everything. So I always use the red spatula for red velvet, so I don't have to worry about the food color on the red. So let me push this down. And we're going to stir again. Okay, now that I put my flour and my buttermilk in, I'm gonna now add the last ingredient, and that is actually the distilled white vinegar and the baking soda. And I'm gonna grab a small container because this is actually gonna bring some, like, it's gonna be nice and airy, bring some air, and just make it really moisture to the cake. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to mix this in here and then blend it up. That's one of the secrets to red velvet cakes. People really don't, I don't know if some people know that, but the vinegar actually makes the cake a lot more moist and airy, and the texture, and that's why people don't realize that it's actually a chocolate cake dyed red. So that's the only difference, pretty much, is the food coloring and the vinegar that you put in the red velvet cake. So I am pretty much done with this now. I'm gonna start placing all of the batter into the pot things, yeah, the pans. So I will get the pans, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, now that I've mixed my ingredients, I'm gonna show you guys how I coated my pan. Because a lot of times now they have the cooking spray where it's for baking. You can just spray that and have it all non-stick. Because there's no gluten-free spray, the pan spray, I've actually done it the old school way. Remember when your mom was making cakes, she'd make you put the shortening or whatever, you actually rub the shortening on the bottom of the pan and on the side of the pan, and then you add the flour. That's what I did. I used an organic all vegetable shortening. I rubbed it on the bottom of the pan, and then I took my flour and I went around and, patted it, made sure it was coated, and it's actually with gluten-free flour. So now I did that, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put probably a cup at a time in the 3 pans. I actually did 3 pans. And by the way, before I even started the cakes, I preset my oven to 350. So you wanna make sure your ovens are set and ready to go before you put the cakes in. So this is a cup, and I'm gonna put a cup in at a time. It's probably gonna take 2 cups per cake pan, but I like to measure it just to make sure it's even. So I just do 1 at a time to make sure I'm going at a cup at a time. And then once I put them in there, I'll just spread them out. But it is normally 1 cup, 2 cups per pan. Now these are the 9 inches. I like my cakes a little bit thinner because it's a 3-layer cake. But I try to make it thin, but also, you know, still a little fluffy. So you can do a 9-inch pan or an 8-inch pan, rounded pan, whichever one you choose. And so this is cup 2 for this one. And then I have 1 more cup to put in to that one there. Okay. And then the last one, I'm going to actually scrape it at the bottom because it's the last of everything. So I'm going to make sure I get in that all that I can get in to this last cup for the last one. So it's 2 cups of cake mix per pan. So here we go. The last one. And see, it's nice and red and fluffy. You really can't see it right now, but once you make it, you'll see the texture is amazing. It's just nice, and it has some, it's aerated. It has some air through it. So once it cooks, it'll be nice and moist and just really, 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 just moist and rich. You'll take, the texture is amazing. So what I'm going to do, because it's not a lot, I try to even it on the sides. I push it down to the sides, to the edges, and round the cake just like that. And then I do the same for this one. Just make sure it's even all the way around, touching the edges of the pan. Last one. Okay. And now that that's done, I actually take the cake and kind of make sure that it's soft evenly. And now I'm about to put them in the oven. Here we go. I let my cakes cook for about 20 minutes. 20 to 25 minutes is the normal time to cook the cakes. I took a toothpick and I checked to make sure there was nothing on the toothpick for it to be done. But they are nice and fluffy and done. So I'm going to go ahead, now I'm going to let these cool. And once they cool, as they're cooling, I'm going to show you guys how to make my icing, my cream cheese frosting. Okay, now that I have my cakes out of the oven, I'm going to let them cool. And I kind of let them cool for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes tops, and just touch the top and see. Hi, baby. Hi. This is my baby. She is an aspiring cook, too. She can cook a lot of things. I actually love her presentations when she cooks. So my little mama loves to cook things, experiment with things. So she's gonna be the second chef in the family. So we're gonna now, maybe the second, my other one maybe the third, but she has to actually learn how to want to cook. She knows how to cook, she just doesn't like to cook. But this one, she loves to cook. So my baby will try anything and everything and experiment in the kitchen. But what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to show you guys my icing, the cream cheese icing, the frosting, while the cakes are cooling. And we're going to get started. So I'm going to actually add in my 2 sticks of butter. And my cream cheese. I do, this is 16 ounces of cream cheese. So it would be 2 of the boxes of the cream cheese that you get at the store. You can do whatever. This is organic cream cheese. I try to do a lot of organic things. A lot of my food is organic. Some things you can't find organic. Certain products, like sometimes the flour, you can find certain flours, gluten-free flours, organic, but the textures are sometimes a little different. I'm still researching to try to find the best gluten-free organic flour. I haven't found that yet, but the flours that I use, they're non-GMOs. So for now, and non-GMO is non-genetically modified. So those are things that I actually will be showing you guys too as I do my videos, how to find the best products, how to find the products that are organic, gluten-free, non-GMO, just a lot of natural things as much as possible, because in the real world everything is not gluten-free organic, but as much as we can, as much as I can, I actually try to use the products, and I'm going to help you guys find the products that are cost effective too. Sometimes I know people think that it's expensive to purchase things organic or gluten-free or non-GMO, but there are ways, and there's actually a lot of places that you can go that they have different products that are gluten-free and all that good those healthy products at really good prices. So I'm going to start with this. So I actually put my butter and my cream cheese in, and I'm going to mix it together and let them blend, you know, kind of get mashed together, and whip it really, really creamy. So it was actually 16 ounces, because it's 1 pound, 16 ounces of the cream cheese. I'm going to let you guys know that 16 ounces of the cream cheese, 2 sticks of butter. I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm going to blend that in there. And this is actually, it will come to 32 ounces, which is 2 pounds of powdered sugar. And that's all you need for this, for the cream cheese icing. So I'm going to put the sugar in, the powdered sugar in little by little, and start blending it. But that's all you need for cream cheese icing is the butter. I do vanilla extract. Not everyone does the vanilla extract. I do the butter, the cream cheese, the vanilla extract, and the powdered sugar. And that's all you need. So I'm going to blend this to make it really creamy. Kind of have to make it go a little slow. I'm going to have to take this down in a moment. Actually, I'm going to take it down because some of the cream cheese and stuff there, it's all on top of the whisk. So let's pull this down so it can actually mix evenly. And this icing, OMG, I love this cream cheese icing. For me, I don't do a lot of icings, but this is my favorite. This one is actually my girls' favorite too. We can eat it just by the spoonful. I love it. They love it. And this red velvet cake, mind you, my friends, they request this. Whenever I go to their house or they're having a party, they're actually asking me to bring this cake. So you guys will enjoy this. And again, please don't hurt your tongue, baby, because it's amazing. Okay, I'm going to add some more and blend it in. And for the icing, of course, I have to make it a little bit, speed it up a little bit to make it really creamy because of the sugar and the butter and the cream cheese. I just want to make sure it's really, really creamy. So I'm going to add some more sugar. Let's see how this does. I'm going to add half of the rest of this and then add the other half in a moment. Go slow at first so sugar's not flying everywhere. Creamy. It's just starting to get really, really nice and creamy. This is the last of the sugar. And just start slow with the mixing, and then once it blends in most of the sugar, then you can speed up the process of the stirring, the mixing. But it's absolutely amazing. A little bit more. It's mixing really, really well. And it's going to be really creamy. I like it really fluffy. And we are done with the icing. Okay guys, the cakes have cooled and my icing is done, and I'm about to frost the cake. And I just put it in a clear pan because I kind of don't like taking it out of that metal pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm just going to start icing the cakes layer by layer. And let me show you guys. I actually put parchment paper underneath the cakes. So because once I'm done icing it, a lot of times you have the icing and stuff all on the side of the plate. I actually don't want the icing and a mess on the side of the plate. So once I'm done icing the cake, I will pull the parchment paper away from the bottom of the cake, and you'll have the icing just on the cake and not on the plate. So here we go. You can put as much icing as you want because there's so much icing. You're gonna have a lot left over. But, you know, like I said, you can use this icing to ice something different. You can use this you can put it away for a couple days and put it on other things, whatever you choose to do. If you make a carrot cake, things like that. This cream cheese icing is amazing for so many different cakes and breads and things like that if you want to do that. So this is how I do it. I just take it and put a good amount on the top of each layer, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and put another one on top. And this cake is so moist that I have to be careful when I pick it up. That's why I put it on the parchment paper too. It's just most of my red velvet cakes, they're so moist, they tend to, you know, stay really kind of, it's interesting. It's just they fall up, they melt in your mouth. So you will understand what I mean. But I just take my hand and I flip it and I just lay it on top. And then that's the second layer. And there's more icing. Like I said, I could eat this icing by itself. It's amazing. And it's just a simple icing. It's nothing major that I did to it. It's just really yummy and sweet and just fluffy. I like to use my KitchenAid because it smooths the icing out and makes it really creamy. So here we go. I'm almost done with this one. I'll put the third layer on. Make sure it's straight and even. Last one. And you notice, see on the bottom, remember earlier I put the shortening and the gluten-free flour in the pan. You notice that my cakes didn't stick. So the old school way is always sometimes the best way to go. But like I said, because they don't have the gluten-free sprays for baking, this is how I do it. So this is my last layer. Position it right. Bring it over. And this is the last layer. And once I'm done with this, you know, you can layer, I'm going to layer the sides also. So my baby girl will be able to enjoy this red velvet cake because it's gluten-free. But like I said, the ingredients that I gave you already earlier in the segment, you can just go ahead and use the whole wheat flour if you don't want to do the gluten-free, or just whatever flour you choose to use. I use the gluten-free flour, but like I said, my recipes are similar because I use the flours that allow you to be able to use the measurements that you originally used in your regular baking products, and you know, now that it's gluten-free. But I really love, like I said, the King Arthur multi-purpose flour because the texture comes as close to the regular flour as possible, because most of them, they have grit. It's kind of gritty. Some of the flours are gritty and they don't taste that great. So I really like that flour. So here we go. We're almost done. flip it. Like I said, I love the icing, so I'm putting a good amount of icing on here. This cake will not lack icing at all. And my babies will be happy. And they're gonna thank me for this. Okay. We're almost done. Have a good look at it and make sure it's evenly iced. And then there you have it. There you have my gluten-free red velvet cake. Now I'm gonna pull, like I told you guys, I'm gonna pull off, if you want to see it. Now I'm gonna pull off the sides, just like I said, you know, the icing gets all on the sides of the cake. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull it from underneath the pieces just really slow because the cake is really moist. So just pull it really slow, and then you're going to see that it keeps it clean. It keeps a clean plate because when you put the top on the cake, you don't want to have the cake all around the edges. So see, it made it really neat. And I'm going to put my cake here. And then put the top on it. And there you have the gluten-free red velvet. Now, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns or you know, allergies, different allergies, there's different substitutions. If you have any questions about substituting things like the dairy and things like that, I do know that because my daughter's also has an allergy to dairy. But I allow her every once in a while to have a little bit of dairy, like her cheat day. She's not highly allergic, but she has sensitivity to dairy. So any questions you have, I will be making sure I give you guys as much information as possible to help with good eating, clean eating, comfort food, all that good stuff. So I want you guys to enjoy this recipe. And like I said, please don't hurt your tongue, baby, because you can do this gluten-free. You can do it the regular way. You can enjoy it however you want to enjoy it. But this is an amazing cake to make, and we're going to enjoy it right now. I hope you enjoy your day. Bye.